and welcome everybody. This is a different experience doing this online, and also not being able to see people. So this is a new one for me, but it's really great to be able to speak with you all. I don't know how many people know about the organisation, so I will tell you a bit about who we are and what we do, and hopefully that will set the picture to talk about safeguarding. So first of all, my name is Helen Stroudley, and I'm the project manager, one of the project managers at Peeple. And we are, as it said in the intro, we do support families around their home learning, but we also help them in lots of different ways. We want to for children to have the best chances in life, and we do that by working with families, with children and parents together, but also a range of other professionals, such as foster carers, and across the field with different schools and settings. We developed the Learning Together programme, and that was based on over 20 years of research and practice that we constantly work on with the research as well, so that we're very up to date. And that Learning Together programme is actually, we train people as well around the country and further afield to deliver the Peeple Learning Together programme. So that's delivered by the practitioners that are trained in a variety of ways. So we've got the Peeple Learning Together programme, training practitioners and delivering services here within Oxford, because this is where it all began. We actually deliver directly to families around Oxfordshire. It depends on the funding as to which areas in Oxfordshire, so that does change, but we do work directly with families, but also with different groups of people as well. And we support lots of practitioners that have been trained in the Peeple Learn Together programme. We also, as well as that, run the Little People Nursery. So that's our provision. So this slide here, we support parents, their children's early learning and development. So the groups that I spoke about, and that's 0 to when they go to school. And we actually do deliver training antenatally as well. So we do work before they're born. But in Oxfordshire, the groups are from babies all the way through to when they go to school. We also do lots of one-to-one work as well as groups. And that may be referrals, it may be because English is an additional language, or there is extra needs for a family, a whole range of things. And we also work closely with other partners that work with in one-to-one way as well, something like Home Start. We offer drop-ins, so like a stay and play, so similar to groups, but much more of a sort of drop-in feel to them. And like I said, our nursery, the early education and childcare part of our work, which really sort of supports those families as well. We still share the Peeple Learning Together programme through our setting as well. So that's where we are in Oxfordshire as a charity. But thinking about safeguarding, which is always at the forefront of our mind, regardless of what work we're doing. And I'm here today to talk about how we've taken that online. So for us, as always, we have our safeguarding policy, which is where we begin. But we've had to have a look at that and really think about whether that still fits and what we need to change and add to it to make sure that we've reviewed, and it's a working document that we always review anyway, so that we can make sure that's really supporting our work. So that policy is on our website, and it's been sent around to all of our staff as well, where we've updated the online side of our work. So we've been sort of working on that sort of quite a bit, because that's sort of the foundation for us. And then it's about working with the risk assessment. Actually, what do we need to make the provision work for us, and to assess to bring the risk as low as possible, because we need to look after both the children and the families and the practitioners that we're working with in this way. And we've really thought that through, and we haven't just done that as a management team, we've also done that talking with the practitioners and the people that we work with and our funders. So underneath that is this group agreement, and somebody else might think of it as rules for a group, but actually this is about an agreement because it's done actually in partnership with families or the groups that we're delivering. So whether it's one-to-one or as a group, we'll actually discuss this and come up with this together, because there's much more ownership over a group agreement if they've suggested something. So for example, we've talked about the fact, obviously in a group situation, about having the use of mobile phones, that we ask them to be switched off. Obviously when we're online, some of them are using their mobile phones, so they won't be switching them off because they're actually viewing the group through those phones. But we have talked about, if you get a phone call, for example, about turning off your video or silencing your phone so that it doesn't interrupt that session. So we think about some of those things, and a lot of them are exactly the same in the group as it is online. So we'll move on to those. But that's really important for us to think about safeguarding, and it's everybody's responsibility, safeguarding, and it's part of our work, and it still is as we move forward. So the things that we thought about, and you may have already thought about some of these things if you're working with families, but because we're running these groups online, we obviously have to think about extra things, and things like invitation only. So the groups that we're offering it to families that we already know. We already have talked about safeguarding with them. They've agreed and signed up to the confidentiality and our policies, and they're able to access those. So, but it's just about reminding families about it. So the invitation that goes out to families has the reminder on there as well, so that it's at the forefront of their mind as well. Just bringing to mind some of the things that they may not have thought about, that we've had a chance to think about. So we send out the invitation and we ask them not to share that invitation, and it's password protected, which changes every single session that we have. So we know who we've invited, and when they share their screen, the same as we have today, we've got our name, but we know they might just put their first name, so that if they don't want to share their full name, or it could just be initials as well, but we do know who is there coming in. Where I put here shared responsibility with families, so that's the group agreement where we've said, is there anything else that you think we all need to be aware of? And one of the things that we do talk about is anything that is discussed in a group stays within that group. In the groups that we're running at the moment, we're actually not sharing information, so everyone's muted apart from the saying hello and the saying goodbye, because we're doing singing and things, and it's very funny when it's online. So at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it might not happen in the future, so we're really clear about confidentiality. And they, if they've got some ownership over that group agreement, it just means that moving forward they will remember them and honour them, so things like having respect, listening to others, and we also talk about things like what to be shown on the screen. So it just gets them thinking about it, that they may not have thought before about what's in the background or who is around within the family that might come into shot, what clothes are being worn. We have a chat about it at the beginning of the group. We also have 2 members of staff in each of our groups, and we do that, I'm sure you'll be aware when you're doing some of these things, trying to manage what you're doing and sharing, as well as managing the whole technical side. It sort of needs 2 people, but that second person's responsibility around safeguarding is that what they're seeing on the screen is really important, who they're allowing in from the waiting room into the group, so they know those families and there's a list of who's been invited. And they've got the power obviously to mute and to remove from the group, or just turn their video off as well. Obviously we've got small children in our groups, and say for example the child is having is toilet training, so it's absolutely fine to turn the videos off. So we sort of talk about that as well, really important. And yes, again, the group agreement, so that's shared actually in the email with the families, and we go back to it. So we verbalise it as well as having something written, so that we've covered everything for the families, so that they feel safe and secure in that space with us, and then they can have fun. And that's on our group agreement actually, we always have at the bottom, have fun, enjoy. So the other things that I had to think about as manager for my team is that obviously we're all working at home, and we've got details of families, we've got details of how to contact them, because we are in contact and doing one-to-one, and that's been really we've had to really think about that, because we've obviously, data protection is really important. So we follow everything that we have got in our policies already, and we're able to do that by, we've got things like making sure everything's locked away, that it would be in the office, it needs to be at home, so we need the extra security, things like extra lock boxes and phones that are password protected and are put away out of work hours, and so they're separate phones than we would normally use. So little things like that, but also documenting the work that we're doing. So all those contacts that we have with families, whether they've come to a group or if we've called them, we need to be sort of collecting that data, which also needs to be locked away. And the families need to know that we're collecting that information, just so that we can see what's working. I think there's a lot of learning that that's going to come out of this, because we're having some really good conversations with families, and it may be not just around the home learning environment and the work that we normally do. They may be having to be signposted on to some of your other services and the other charities and support that is out there, and we're documenting that to see what support is needed for our families, and that's just as important for us, because that's the whole safeguarding. And if we have any concerns, we would do exactly the same as we would normally do. All of our staff are safeguard trained and DBS checked. So knowing the contact details, which I thought would be really handy for you guys to have on here. The Oxfordshire Safeguarding Children Board is a really useful place to go. If you've got any questions, there are contact details that you'll be able to find information to answer any of your questions, and they will point you in the right direction, and they are great. So, safeguarding is everyone's responsibility, whether you're used to working with children and families or not. There is lots of information there. So do get back to them if you need to. And I've left my contact details on here as well, or the website and our training team's details, if you need to get hold of us at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. That was really interesting, and I think laid bare what the challenges are with regard to safeguarding working online. And I know it's a very live issue for many organisations. I've got one quick question on recording. Do you record the sessions so that you have a record? And two, what do you do to prevent people recording and sharing inappropriately video from the sessions or stills?
Thank you, Adrian. That's something I've got written down here and I didn't mention. Yeah, so we actually asked them not to record the sessions or screenshot as well. And we don't record the session. So the reason we do that, because it's the storing of it, and then you have images of children which we don't keep unless we have written permission for that particular photo, for example. So if we have taken a photograph in a group, normally the parent would see it and sign to say that we could use it, say, within our social media and things. So we don't record the session. We tell them that we're not recording it, and they're not to record it. And we've got to say they actually can't record it without asking our permission to do that. It comes up on the screen. The same as the invitation, actually. We say don't share it, but actually they can't. It would come back, this person has shared the invitation. So we're sort of covering ourselves, but also it's about sharing with them why we're not doing it, so they're aware of when they use different things outside of the group, that they're aware of it as well.
Yeah, thank you. And can I ask what software you're using?
Yeah, we use Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
Yes, we are using Zoom. We've looked at a lot, actually, and had lots and lots of research behind. The Teams is the other option that that in Oxfordshire is being used, but you don't see everybody on screen at once, and it sort of comes and flickers in. And what we do want to see is everybody on the screen, because it makes that feel of a group. That relationship that we are building with families is really important to us, and so we're able to do that because we can see each other and they interact. So yeah, that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jane, did you?
No, just a last question for Helen. And presumably, you're not on a free version of Zoom, are you? Presumably, you're on a paid-for version.
Paid version. And I mean, we are using it as training as well. I'm using it with the foster carers team as well, and that was my first experience of it, actually. Was using it on that, and I thought I might, have lots more questions about, why are you using that? But actually, it's been fantastic. Way of working with the foster carers, and we're we've got lots done within the session. So it's actually, I'm finding training, I think, is going to move forward. We're going to learn a lot from using these platforms about how to best cope with it and manage it. So I can see us doing more of it, especially as we do a lot of work in Scotland, actually.
So improvements going forward then.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Perfect. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.